I'm recording. Thank you. Okay, so this is my page as a teacher. I have the courses that I already assigned. I'm very briefly just showing you that you could make changes in the groups that you have. If you go into the library and you want to assign a new course, for example, you're teaching the 9th grade and your next unit is EcoChic, whatever, and you want to assign it to students. So you could edit your groups here. It was supposed to be updated yesterday, so I'm not sure yet if it's up there or not, but the groups that came from the Mashov, up until yesterday, they weren't supposed to be, you couldn't update them on your own. Now they changed it so you can make changes in case you need and that your school doesn't usually do it or whatever other reasons. So when you go into spreading the course, you can make a change. You can also make changes if you go to Nihul Kvutzot. You can either create a new group or you could add it with the pencil, the students. You could add more students from your school. You could see who's in your school. You could add a teacher if you want. So again, it's been there for a while. And what's new is that now you could do it also, supposed to be, I haven't seen it because I don't have Wutzot of my own, but you're supposed to be able to edit also groups that came from the Shachaf or from the Mashov, from school, in case you have some mistake, and then it doesn't sync anymore. So once you edit it, it doesn't sync from the secretary, and you can control everything on your own. So this is like something new that I wanted to show. I'm going back to questions about this.
But Noah, does that mean, yeah, yes. Does that mean that if you want it to sync with the Mashav, because we have to make a major change, it won't sync and we're going to have to do it manually, or it will sync?
If your school make changes, it syncs overnight every day, once a day. If you don't want to wait until it syncs, or your secretary doesn't do that, or your school, I don't know, for any other reason, some schools don't work with Shachav, they work only with Mashov, whatever. If you need to make changes and you don't want to wait for school, you could change by yourself. The only thing it means is that later changes that will be made in school, in the Mashov later, won't be synced anymore. And it would be only your management. You'll be the only one who's controlling the group. So this is just a new thing about groups. I'm assuming that by this time of year, most of you have your groups set, but there could be changes here and there, so it's good to know. I'm going back to my courses, unless anyone else wants to say something. Okay, so I'm going back to my courses. I have here 2 courses. It doesn't matter. I'll go into one of them. I have 2 parts here. I have the lessons themselves, and I have the grades. In the lessons tab, I can see all the lessons of the unit, and I can see which ones are already open and which ones are locked. If it's locked, it means that even if the student finished everything, he or she has nothing more to do. So we need to open a new lesson for them. All I have to do is to click here, then I get the date, which is today. If I want to make it in the future, I click on it and I can choose a date in the future. If I want students to have some sort of what's the deadline and when does the next lesson open, you could decide in advance which date you want to open it. Let's say I want to open it on Thursday. So I do this and it says here that it will open on November 14th. If I want to change it, I can click again and decide that I want to open it today, and then it opens on the spot. Usually what happens is that the student gets a notification, hey, שיעור חדש נפתח באקושיק. This is the student screen. Okay, so this is basically on this screen, this is what you do. You open lessons for your students. Any questions so far? Okay, now let's go into grades. This has been changed dramatically. There are still things that should be updated in the next few weeks. But there are major changes here. So here I have a list of my students. I can see how far they are in the course, if they started, they haven't started, and so on. Everything that is not black here means that the lesson is closed. So I can't see what they did because it's not there. So these are the lessons that I already have grades on. And I'm going to go into a lesson that I don't have grades on. I'm going into the lesson and I can see that one student I need to check 5 of the exercises, and another one I don't need to check anything. It could be that he or she did answered questions that were automatically graded. I'll show you the difference. I'll go back a little bit, I'm sorry. I went into the lesson. Here I can change between lessons. So now I'm on this lesson. I can look at the exercises. מה שנקרא רוחב, okay? I want to check the same exercise for all students. And I can look and I can make it anonymous if I want to not be biased. So I can not see the names of the students. And I can also look at it according to a student to see what a student did. So if I'm going to Noah, which is me, I could see what was already, this was already graded automatically. This also was graded automatically. This she didn't do, so it says low gush. And I can scroll down to see everything. I also have an option to sort it here. I can look at all the exercises. I can look at the ones that were checked, and then I can see the grades. And I can look at what was left to be checked. Okay? Now I want to go back to a lesson that she did finish, this student. So I already have the grade of the lesson. So this is automatically, and this I gave 100. It could be that I'm wrong. I was just doing it for the, here I only gave 20. So I could take a look and see what's here, and I can see if there's anything left to be checked. So I can see that for this student, I checked everything. For this student, when I go into נותרו לבדיקה, I see that I haven't checked. So here he typed gibberish, so I'm giving it a 0. I'm only writing the number and I'm clicking on it, and that's it. Same here. I want to give, let's be nice. Let's suppose he wrote something in English that makes sense, and I want to give it a 20. So I again click on it and it gets a 20. And if you could see that the grade of the entire lesson was updated according to the grades that I just gave the student.
Sorry, so each question is out of 100. How do you know like what grade is what's it out of?
Yeah, so each question is out of 100. You give your assessment for this question, scale of 1 to 100. And the lesson, there is a whole, in the future, I hope near future, you'll be able to control the percentage for each lesson. And I hope also soon, a little bit after, you'll be able to decide the percentage of exercises. But in the meantime, it's a very simple mathematical equation. It takes all the exercises, he makes an average, and that's it.
So we have a mean average of everything together.
Yeah,
There's-
if I go back to my screen of students and I look at their grades, this is the average of everything that was checked.
That means, but let's say one student did 6 assignments and one student did only 3 assignments. So one will have an average out of 3 grades and one will have an average of 5 grades, or do you give 0 to those who do not submit?
Right now, the system doesn't really allow students to not submit.
Okay.
Okay, it's something that has been worked on to give you, the teachers, an option to allow students to skip on things. But in the meantime, the system works in a way that you have to submit in order to continue.
Yeah, but then he'll get a 0. It's
Right.
like if he hasn't submitted.
Yeah, but it doesn't give you a 0. It just doesn't let you move on to the next exercise.
Okay.
So it doesn't give you a grade because you didn't finish the lesson.
No, but you can move to the next lesson,
We did
not
see
to the
that you
next
can move on.
exercise, but to the next lesson, I think you can.
Yes, the next lesson does open. Again, one of the things that are being worked on in our tech, in the tech people, is to make it possible for you to open lessons just for specific students. But in the meantime, once you open the lesson, it opens for everyone. It has also some advantages because if you have a student that missed a lot of material because he or she was sick and you want them to be with the class, so you say, let's do this now and go back to this when you have time at home, or let's do it partani, but it has also some advantages, pedagogical idea behind it. But again, once you have the option as a teacher to decide who's getting which lesson, like when each student is getting each lesson, it would be easier. But right now they can move to the next lesson, but the lesson that they haven't completed won't be calculated. And you can go back and tell them you didn't finish this lesson, go back to this lesson. So this is up until now. Anything you want to ask more about?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this only for students that are in gate 2 that are doing the LMS? What about students that are in gate 1 and gate 3? How do we give them grades? Should it be uploaded anywhere?
Okay, so I'm relating to the LMS. Okay, one of the things that we're doing now for your second unit of the year, for EcoChic in the 9th grade and Stand Strong in the 8th grade, is to create a course that is for gate 1 or gate 3. And what's the only difference between the courses will be that in gate 1 or gate 3, you won't have to, students won't have to complete everything. They could skip. It allows them to not do anything because they just skip. But it allows you as teachers for gate 1 and gate 3 to use the LMS and tell them, go into this lesson, do only this and that. And then the calculation is a little bit more complicated, but it's possible. So a student goes in and does only one or two parts of the lesson according to your guidance. We don't want to do it in gate 2 because it's a different kind of instruction, like from the teacher. So in gate 2, for now, everything is a must. It is also something that is being worked on to give you, the teachers, the option to open more, to have more options of what's must and what's not must. But in the meantime, because we created this for you as a whole course, we don't want to make this decision for you. So everything in gate 2, everything they must do, and in gate 1 and 3, they don't have to do anything. But it gives you the freedom of using the LMS for grammar, for language, I mean, and for vocabulary, and also for texts and listenings. When you want them to listen to the videos on their own and do a comprehension, it gives you the freedom to play with it.
Noah, can I just ask a question also? It's Belinda again. Regarding exercises or questions that the students do incorrectly, will they have the opportunity, because at the moment they can't and they're getting very frustrated, to go back and be able to correct a wrong answer?
Yes, so this is something that is supposed to be in the next 2 weeks. I hope that
Okay.
the schedule will be on time. I do want to show you, it's a good thing you asked. I did make notes, so I would have remembered, but I'll show you that when you go into an exercise, I'll go maybe into a lesson that I haven't, something that I haven't checked. Okay, here you could give a grade, and in the meantime, here you can only give feedback. So you could write to the student, read the text again, or whatever feedback you want to give. And this is being sent to the student. In the future, very soon, I hope again in the next 2 weeks, you'll be able to open this for correction for the student. And then the student can go in and do it again. It's important on this, in reference to this, over here, you could see that there is one hagashot. The student submitted once. If you open it for the students once it's possible, if you open it for the student, you'll see, you could see both submissions. You could look what he did in the first time and what he or she did in the second time. You could compare, you could decide how you want to grade it. And so this is very important. A few more things that are new and they're not yet 100% accurate, but I want you to be aware of.
Wait
Here
one
you
second,
have
Noah, can I ask a question?
yeah,
Is there a way that you're going to update both the Mulavim and the teachers once these features are available and ready?
yes, of course. We also wanted to do it with the grading, and we did it, but we wanted to do the adracha because it was a wider perspective. Those specific small corrections or developments of the systems, we will let you know. But I do
Great.
want to point your attention here that you have for each exercise, it says how much does it like what the percentage of it of the entire lesson. There are a few agdarot here, ragil. There is also bonus and that are new. And the courses that you're using now, everything says ragil and rama beinonit. Nothing here is yet divided into levels. I don't know why I know why, because because it's an open question and it has a few lists, so he made it a difficult question. It's automatically, the LMS decided what level of question it is. In the future courses, we, the developers, will decide, according to our perspective, what level of exercise is it, and if it's a העמקה, or if it's a ידע והבנה, and then also the percentage is changed according to the type of question. So בעצם what I said before about a simple average is not 100% correct. So I'll correct myself. You could see for each exercise how much it weighs. And for longer assignments like paragraphs, this is a פסקה and this is a תשובה קצרה. So you see it has different percentages.
Another thing, please.
Yes.
I see that not all, some of the answers, you can see only the answer and not the question. And this is very difficult for me to remember what was there. So,
First of all, I'll be happy if you could make a screenshot and give me specific places because it shouldn't be like this, unless there's something that I'm missing. But if you send me an example, it would be easier for me to check. There is a button here that says תצוגה מקדימה. You could click on it and it opens the תצוגה מקדימה of the course. It takes a few seconds. And it opens so you could scroll and find where it is.
yeah, but I don't want
It
to go
is-
there back and forth for each question. There are a few of them. I'll send you a screenshot.
Send me a screenshot. You have my number, but it is also something that being fixed, that when you press the תצוגה מקדימה, you'll get exactly the exercise that you're checking. But this should be, again, I hope very soon. But this is like a feedback that they already got from us and they're fixing it. So it will make it easier for you to give grades.
Excuse me, I want to re-ask a question. If it says אפס הרגשות, it means that this is an exercise that the student hasn't started, isn't it?
Right. It says, for example, if you look at my screen, so there's אפס הגשות, and there is also a red big Hebrew letters, לא הוגש. So you basically have two indicators of showing you that that it wasn't done, and then you can go back and tell him you didn't do this exercise. Let's do it together, or do it with a friend. She also didn't do it, or whatever other way you want to use this knowledge. And you also
Noah,
cannot give a feedback here because he hasn't completed it. Yes, Julie.
and if he had completed, how do the kids know that you have
I don't know if it's your
given feedback? They only know when they open the LMS, or did they get some? You can't hear me?
No, now I can hear you. I could hear you now. What did you ask again?
How do they know? How do they know? I said, how do the kids know that they have feedback? Where do they see it? Only when
Only
they
in the
open the LMS?
only in the LMS. The student's screen of of seeing their own grades is also in the plan for very soon. Right now, when they go into the student screen, they can only see the status of the lessons and not like the grade. They can see the grade for each exercise that is automatically tested, but they cannot see the grade for the entire lesson. This is something that should be published very soon, the shidrug of the student screen.
Is there a way to export the grades to like an Excel spreadsheet?
I'm sorry I said it too many times today, but it should be in the next few weeks. You should be able to download an Excel file, and then when you get an Excel file, you can upload it into the Mashov fairly easily. And if you need a how-to on uploading to the Mashov, I can do that also, even though it's a different platform.